Hello everyone, welcome to NSC Red Devils NCR. This is Delvin and I have Antriksh with me. Antriksh, the last night's game was as close to close to a gut punch as it comes. It was an equal game. It was not as if Brighton were dominating and we were sitting back. In the first half, I think if we go to see the game in retrospect, we were the better team in the first half, and it is and for the 10,256 time we've not able to capitalize on the chances that we have created, and that automatically when the score is nil-nil and a team like Brighton who have gone throughout this season riding a crest of a wave, and they needed was that score line, and with each every minute in the second half they grew in confidence, and the goal came. You could say that it was poetic justice, considering the fact that they did lose to us in penalties in the semi-final, and it took a penalty to beat us also on the night. So before we get into the nitty-gritties of the game, and we just dissect upon what went wrong and what exactly happened and transpired throughout the game, what are your first thoughts about the game, and what are your first thoughts about the result? Do you think that in the grand scheme of 90 minutes, was that loss justified, or do you think that I think at the end of the day we deserve the loss?
I mean, I'm sort of stuck between the fact that performance-wise, I think it was a fair, it would have been a fair result had it been a draw. But I think considering the fact, when you look at what Brighton played, the team they played, I mean, fair enough, they had Mitoma and Gang playing out there, but they had a lot of, as we discussed yesterday night, South American mafias playing in, and I bueno noches. I thought that was some sort of greeting in Spanish, but that turned out to be a player. So
it is a greeting, right? As well, and it is a name as well.
yeah, exactly. It sort of rung a bell, and I was like, I don't know the player, but I do know the word. So there you go. But I just felt considering that, I thought it was good enough that even away from home, we're sort of showing that yes, we're Man United, and if someone tries to fuck with their lineup and be sort of, I don't know if cocky is the right word, but still sort of experimental with us, so we're going to show them the way. And I thought that, and I really was impressed with a couple of Martial runs, and that's the problem. It's like not the whole player. It's one of his qualities for, as we said, the 3-minute timing, which he's known for now here at NCR. So I liked the start there. I liked Rashford. He sort of looked in the mood wherein he was getting a couple of nutmegs here and there. But then again, the whole story, there is no, so like a couple of things which have always been the problem. The half chances are not converted, and the half chances are never made into real tap-ins, like it aren't those chances which Haaland gets at City. It aren't those chances what Jesus gets at Arsenal. It's those chances that Rashford has to convert from, I don't know, outside the box or inside the box curling, or Bruno has to, do a Trivela or some sorts of like that. And when we do get that chance, it's Weghorst, Martial, Rashford, Bruno probably converting 1 out of 10. So we sort of need to have, I don't know, 25 shots in a game to maybe have 2 goals. So that's our story. And when we're at home, we sort of create 0.7 kind of XG wale chances, and at away we're like 0.45 hovering around there. So both chances we never convert. So yeah, that's why I sort of feel that draw would have been a decent result. But yeah, it's like the same shit all over again. We're trying to hold on to something, passive ho jate hain after having a bright. So I think, and as you said, poetic justice, I think loss banta hai. I think, it should have been a loss.
I mean, so for me, the point was very simple. For all the good things that Brighton have done throughout the course of the season, they weren't their composed selves last night, and that is why the loss hits harder. You could see that there were nerves. They were circumspect. They were lackluster also in certain areas, especially when it came to the final third. They didn't look themselves for vast majority of the game, and that is where the loss hurts a lot. I was having this conversation with Mudit Bhai also, on WhatsApp in the course of the game, and he said that our shit finishing could come back to bite us, and that is exactly what happened. Another one of my friends who I had a conversation with, he said, the front three was the reason why we could have got 3 points. We were ending up with 1, but we ended up with 0. Shaw was the reason we were on 1 point, but we ended up with zero. So the front three is to blame more in that regard. So now let's get into the game. 10 shots in the first half, out of which I can literally say 4 or 5 should have gone into the back of the net. Uh, it started off with Anthony as early as the second minute, where he should have scored. He should have,
Yeah.
uh, and I think for a side which not long ago had gone an entire season unbeaten away from home, the fact that we've transformed into a side that we've been downright atrocious at home, away. I'm sorry, away.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
not we've not won a single game against sides in the top 10. The only game we won at that time was Fulham, who are, I don't think, right now in the top 10. I might be wrong here, but if they are in the top 10, then we haven't won a single game against sides in the top 8, if that is to be taken. We lost to Aston Villa, we lost to Brentford, we lost to Man City, we lost to Arsenal, we lost to Liverpool, we drew at Spurs, and last night we lost at Brighton. What is it with United and away games that is plaguing us this season? I mean, surely it has to be something from a mental standpoint. Like, are we not able to keep our heads, or what is it? Because we played very well yesterday. It's not like there is any issue from a technical standpoint. Uh, this has to go down due to a mental error or something like that, because this is something that is becoming a real concern, in spite of the fact that we've still managed to be on the precipices of top four throughout the course of this season. In spite of the fact that we are atrocious away from home, is a testament to how resilient Ten Hag has been. But surely this problem has to be addressed at some point, because this cannot repeat next season for sure.
I agree, yaar. I agree. I mean, I feel bad. 80 point mark gaya. You know,
Exactly. That is what. Yeah.
like we're again not gonna get 84 points. I hope at least we get. You know, it's all psychological, but still 76. If we'll reach, you know, it'll be
78.
2 points. No,
78.
I'm saying
If
if
we
we
win
reach,
all.
if we reach 76, at least it'll be like 2 points per game ka sort of ratio, which sort of at least seems well. It means we won a game and then we drew a game essentially. So like that sort of fits into the narrative. Ki, theek hai, progress. And you know what, Delvin bhai? I mean, I think it's just mental. It is just mental. I don't think we've been like in terms of performances in periods of a game away from home. I don't think we've been that bad. I think we've been pretty wise in terms of like how Gary Neville once put out and said, we weren't what Man City is under Pep Guardiola. We weren't that under Sir Alex. We were never that. We were very adaptive. We were like chameleons. We used to change things up. We used to dominate and fuck around teams when we wanted to, but we were also that counter attacking and we're going to sit deep and in periods of game when we wanted to. And I think that is something Ten Hag showed in his tactical know-how. Key, I can have that 95% possession against Old Trike or whatever he had in Eredivisie, but I can also have 40% possession and fuck teams over. And even in big games, I mean, the Carabao Cup final, we didn't look sort of our best and what sort of teams like Man City and Liverpool do despite the final. But we looked like a champion side. We looked like a side who knows how to get like those Mourinho sides who win finals nonetheless. We look like that. So I think we've been sort of that in away games, but we're lacking. We're lacking two things. We're lacking the finishing. I think three things. We're lacking that finishing. We're lacking that final ball that makes those half chances into proper tap-ins, proper goal scoring chances. And then the third thing which we're lacking is defensive, I don't know, defensive mentality at the end. Like when we have accepted ki, okay, either like when we're winning, okay, now we'll settle with that 1 goal deficit. Now we need to fucking defend for our lives. Or when we have accepted, okay, it's going to be a point each for each side. Now we need to defend. It's those individual errors. It's those combination. It's not even blatant individual errors. Sometimes it's just key. You have to mark this man, but you go out and you're like sort of too excited and you leave your space and mark someone else, which leaves a gaping hole at the center of the field. So it's like those small things. And I think Shaw should never be scapegoated. I mean, the fact that he's keeping Maguire out of the team, I think it's for good. I think it's for good. So I just believe it's all here, yeah, and we just need to get through 90 minutes.
But then that is the problem. Like I said, the mentality of getting through 90 minutes is one of the principal reasons why we are dropping points in the first place. Uh, we've already dropped 11 points. If I believe that we should have won the game yesterday. We dropped 2 points against Southampton. We dropped 2 points against
Yeah,
Crystal Palace. We dropped 2 points against Leeds, and I think there is another team which I'm not getting that we dropped
Tottenham,
2 points.
Tottenham.
Yeah, Tottenham. Yeah, Spurs. So that's 8 points there, and yesterday three. 11 points off.
Bro,
Just
imagine that Arsenal game, man. That
that was a
Arsenal game
draw.
which you lost.
That was a draw.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
again,
exactly.
that was another game where we looked to hold on to what we had.
Yeah,
So all in all, I genuinely believe there's something in the head of these players because
yeah, for sure.
I seen in the Sevilla game that these lot just lost it.
Hmm.
All it took was one clothesline on Sabitzer, and these guys just lost their heads.
Yeah,
Same thing against Liverpool at Anfield. All it took was one Hakpo goal in the first half, and then we crumbled like an overbaked cookie in the second. But uh, who, according to you, last night was our worst performer? For me, it has to be one, and it has to be Anthony Martial. Put simply, the guy couldn't control. There was only one thing of note that he did, that it was a step over late in the second half. But apart from that, the guy was absolutely useless. He was more of a hindrance than a help. Uh, not able to keep the ball under control. Wasn't running. I don't know what he was doing out there, but he was playing on an entirely different wavelength than the rest of the side, and that automatically puts the pressure when you're by default playing with 10 men, in spite of the fact that you have 11 on the pitch. So, do you have any other guy who was not as up to the mark, or do you also believe that Martial was our worst performer at the end of the day?
I do agree with you for sure. Martial was there are no second thoughts about it. But I do think there is a surprising player for me who was off the mark yesterday, and that was Casemiro for me. I just believe that a bit. I could see that reaction, Delvin, right? But
Yeah, no,
I just believe.
I actually
Huh.
agree because we
Oh,
spoke yesterday about the fact
yeah.
that Casemiro is a type of player that makes the referee make a decision, and that yellow card
Huh.
which he received
Exactly.
was
Exactly.
the
That
prime
is.
example.
Huh.
You cannot make the referee, you cannot put the referee in a situation where he has to make a decision, because more often than not, it will go against your favor. Considering the reputation that you've come across,
Exactly.
you've already got two red cards. You are already in the eyes of the referee as a tough tackling, hard nosed midfielder. So all your tackles automatically come under the microscope. The fact that you're letting him make a decision against your favor, forget about the decision, whatever it is. The fact that you're putting him in a spot where a decision has to be made is battle lost there and then. You cannot do that. A midfielder of your grace, class, and quality surely should identify this, especially
Yeah.
after getting two red cards out
Yeah.
in this. Yeah,
I really think Fred at the start of the game, like he was being given that role. You press high, you press with tenacity. So he was going a bit forward, and Bruno was looking, because of the counter pressing we were doing. He was looking for those channels up front. So I thought that Casemiro was being a bit ran over, by these Brighton midfielders who were surrounding him. And that tackle on McAllister, I guess it was, which cost him the yellow card. I think that was out of pure, sort of kiya thut. Like
I thought
I don't.
I thought
Yeah.
it was NC, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure.
Me neither. Me neither. Me neither. So like South American jo bhi tha, he sort of got a bit, just a bit key. Like let me just give in, because that wasn't a Casemiro-esque tackle. Like when he puts those kind of tackles with the studs half up, he generally gets the ball, or he sees red in the Premier League at least. So like after that, the history with the ref, yellow card down your pocket, already given him something to think. I think he again played one of those safe games wherein we don't want Casemiro to be
He
safe.
he was lucky not to get sent off though. He was lucky not to
Yeah.
get sent off. That should have been a second yellow. That
Hmm.
should have been a second yellow.
Yeah.
The foul that he did, he was lucky not to get
Exactly.
sent off there. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that is why I believe, just purely because what he's done for the club, the class and the cloth the player is from, just tells us that how much we depend on him. Plus, I don't really think it was like really even a decent performance. So like, to be honest, but yeah, Martial takes the trophy here. Yeah, there are no second thoughts about it.
Precisely.
Although as I said, for the first 12-13 minutes, जो उसने 2 runs बनाए, as like, ooh, we could have some, old Martial Rashford tiki-taka link up. But after that, he
Didn't
just
happen.
drifted.
He just went off the game. Like
Yeah.
he just went off. Yeah.
एक तो
Uh,
सबसे पहले I think, if he has to improve his football, a football, even from the fans' perspective, बहुत यहाँ से चलता है. He should take an expressions class, man. I hate that guy's face.
that's the only expression he does. That's the only expression he has. So that is why he's being construed. He's misconstrued because of that expression. He has the
Ten
same
Hag
expression
really
for
rates him.
every.
Ten Hag really rates him.
Because there is a reason.
Yeah.
Those two runs in the 12-13 minutes
Yeah.
are the exact
Yeah.
same reason why Ten Hag highly rates him. But then when you're not available, when you're not healthy, it automatically puts you in the wrong light. You could have all the talent in the world, man. You could be Messi for all that you care, but if you're not available for games,
Absolutely.
it doesn't have a difference. You're on the treatment table rather than where you're supposed to be to make a difference. It doesn't. So obviously
Yeah.
there is that pent up frustration, there is a pent up anger, and for the longest time I was pro Martial. It all changed when the fucker
Yeah.
when he missed an open goal against PSG in the Champions League. From there on, I was like, no man, this guy is just no, cannot. But speaking about, I mean, there is not much negative that you can pick out from the performance last night
Yeah.
because I think the game was pretty even. But let's talk about Brighton a bit. Like, dude, there were certain instances where these guys, we literally pressed with everything we had, and the sheer disgustingly easy way that they managed to get the ball out from the goal to the half line, like absolutely mesmerizing, man. Like, you know that these guys have practiced this days on end. Like, you can see, like it's frighteningly easy, man. And you looking at those instances, I mean, you then realize like Pep was actually right all along. And when Pep says this, like, you've got to put your hats out to them. The It's one instance in the first half where Fred, Bruno, and Martial,
Yeah.
for one rare instance, pressed them in the half. They got the ball out. It was Steele, Webster, left back. I think that's Estupinian,
Yeah.
Caicedo, Estupinian, and they're out. So easily, ridiculously easy. I mean, wow, man! Like it's some of the football that they played, in spite of the fact that they were not up to their usual selves, is just mesmerizing.
I agree, man. I agree. Matlab, I think they did get surprised by the levels of our pressing, and I mean, like the yards we were covering into their box. They would have anticipated Fred to have a tenacious role, but tenacious role with direct running towards them was something I guess Fred got like he deflected the ball once and it went out
Once,
for a
yeah,
goal kick. I guess.
went for
Yeah.
a goal kick. That was early on, yeah.
Yeah, but even despite those sort of crumbling moments here and there, once Estupinian got the ball and he had one channel sort of being blocked, the way by which he just kept the foot on his on the ball, he passed it to Steele to Caicedo, and they're out. Remember, Caicedo isn't even a right back. Like he is no, he has. That's what I'm saying. Like the confidence, the drill that is in them to play like and when we played that, it was embarrassing for fuck's sake. Like when we were trying and Lindelof was like hovering, kahan do, kisko do.
It all starts from the goalkeeper. If you have a
Yeah.
goalkeeper who's confident,
Absolutely.
it exudes confidence to the rest of your backline.
Absolutely.
And for all that De Gea has done, De Gea is you always know that it's a ticking time bomb, man. He almost passed it out. He almost passed it to a Brighton player in the second half.
Exactly.
When we try to play out the same way. So you spoke about Caicedo playing right back. This was a very, very interesting tactical move from De Zerbi. He played Caicedo as right back to offset the Rashford threat.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Caicedo did that good of a job because I think more often than not, Rashford easily had the beating of him. What did you think of that move? I think the only reasoning behind Caicedo playing right back is to just give an added layer of security to their right wing back. I think it was Webster only. I think was playing right wing back. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, so to give him support, but then it didn't work as well as De Zerbi would have wanted. But again, the profligacy meant that he was not made to pay for it. So, what were your thoughts on that tactical move? Like, did you see it coming?
No, I did not see it coming. I remember, once the game was starting, the Star Sports or whatever there is, I guess Sky Sports there and Star Sports there. The girl Seema Jaiswal, the Indian girl, she was saying, oh,
Melissa Reddy.
no,
I
no,
think I.
वो तो वो है, but like she's one of those जो like studio
I'm
में
not
बैठी
sure.
रहती है.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so she's Seema Jaiswal. Yeah, that's who she is. So like the boys in the chat would know her for sure. So yeah, so she said she asked, I guess it was Owen Hargreaves and someone else in the studio, and she asked that Caicedo is being shown as a right back in that match day display. Do you think he'll play there? And everyone said no, no, no. For sure, he's going to tuck in. There's this and that, back four, back three, back five, but he's surely not going to play. And he actually, while they were sort of lining up and before the kickoff, he wasn't at the center of the pitch, but soon as the game started, he was like fully a proper right back. So I don't really think that move really made sense, and that it really paid dividends. But what I was surprised was by the attacking output that Caicedo gave, just purely in terms of running. I mean, he made some intelligent darts forward, and I was like, Van Bissaka sharam kar. Like, should have seen, like, he was actually making those 1-2 underlap, overlap runs, and it actually showed ki, some way or the other, De Zerbi is one of those guys who's like, goalkeeper will play in midfield, midfielders play defense, defenders play attack, attackers defend, and like sort of those ki everyone can play everywhere on the pitch. So I think it was something that he sort of predicted would go well. It did not go bad, but it certainly, I don't think, would gives De Zerbi confidence to do it again in a big game. And I really think it had to do with the fact that Rashford was in the mood as well to run. Well, Rashford was getting the knack. Sometimes, when Rashford is in his dribbling mood, but he doesn't get even a dribble right, any right back in the world, I'd stop him. And I'm not even a footballer. Right back to chhod do. So, but like when he is in the mood, he sort of gets the better. His deflections go with him. His nutmegs go ekdam clean. So he looked in that mood yesterday.
So we are one game ahead of Liverpool. We have one game in hand over Liverpool. The gap is 5 points. Liverpool, in their worst season in recent Premier League history, have a chance of making the top four. We are in 63. We need 3 wins. That doesn't change. Do you think top 4 still in our hands, or because
For sure.
our fixture is pretty forgiving from here on. We play West Ham, we play Wolves, we play Fulham, we play Bournemouth, and we play Chelsea. 5
There you
games.
go.
I think we can easily get 4 wins out of these and more or less secure our spot. But
Sure.
if do you think? I think it's going to take a bottle job of a Spurs level bottle job to ensure that we are out of the Champions League places. What are
No,
your
I
thoughts
agree.
on? Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. And I'd be really, really pissed if we don't finish third. Like I'd be really fucking pissed. Like if we let third get out of our hand, I think that really gives a signal that again these players are starting with their fuckery all over again. Even when Ten Hag is in the shop, I mean it would be dividends to what we did at the start of the season and our home form that we'd still make the top four if we finish fourth, because that means we've had a horrendous end to the season, last 9-10 games combined. So I'd really be pissed if we don't finish third, and in not, I won't say touching distance, but I'd say decent distance to Arsenal, because like earlier in the season there were there were signs that they'd run away with the league and they'd be probably 20 points above than us. But I'd be good if they're less than 10, 7, 8 points. That gives me confidence, because of how highly Arsenal has been talked about with the likes of Saka, Martinelli, Age Piche, everyone, as if they were the Invincibles all over again. And United finishing in, I don't know, 3 games distance, 9 points ish of them, that gives me confidence again. So I think it's very, very, very well in our own hands. I think we should be able to make it pretty easily. And I'd really be pissed if we don't make top 4 to chodo, top 3. I think we really should make that third spot ours.
I mean, hopefully, man, we do. I think right. I think you're pretty right in saying that even top 3 is in our hands. But the way Newcastle also are playing, they look pretty irresistible. So it would take a certain amount. I think it would take 2 results to go our way,
Yeah.
to ensure that we finish over them. But all in all, I think we should make top four come the end of the season. I think we have that much of breathing room in spite of the fact that we did end up losing to Brighton, and also because of the forgiving nature of our fixtures.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, Antriksh, thank you so much for joining in. It was great talking to you about the game. Hopefully, unfortunately, it did end on a better note, but then next game is another day. So, hopefully, then.
Exactly. Yeah.
With that being said, thank you to all for joining in on our channel. Do show us love by dropping in, smashing that like button, pressing on the subscribe button, and do press the bell icon so that you're notified for each and every video that we come across. Show us love on our social media platforms on Instagram and on Twitter. We are always active there, perpetually active, so drop us a follow there too. Apart from that, every day is match day on official WhatsApp groups of ours. You can join in and be a part of our ever-growing family because there's always room for more. And we would be more than happy to welcome new members in there as well. With that being said, thank you for tuning in for another episode. This is me and Antriksh wishing all of you goodbye. Do take care of yourselves. Stay safe, stay healthy. And until next time, goodbye, GGMU, and safe.